The brightest stars and top storylines for the 2024-25 women's college basketball season. All eyes on USC, Watkins in the Big Ten. Zora Stephenson and Megan McKeown preview the Big Ten, which is getting 4 new teams, including the USC Trojans with one of the most electrifying players in the country, Juju Watkins. Women's college basketball has never been in a better place. Yes, there has always been great talent in the sport, but now the entire world sees it. Last year's Iowa-South Carolina National Championship game drew an average of 18.7 million viewers with a peak viewership of 24 million. That shattered previous records set earlier in the NCAA tournament, which shattered previous records set the year before in the postseason. The Caitlin Clark effect was very real, as the 2-time National Player of the Year and her insanely deep threes attracted millions of new fans, many of whom stuck around to watch Dawn Staley's dynasty, as well as UConn's attempt to return to the mountaintop of the sport. But Clark is off to the WNBA, and there are plenty of superstars ready to step into that vacated spotlight. Oh, and Staley's team is certainly ready to repeat as national champs too, even though the way the Gamecocks win will look a bit different with the loss of Camila Cardoso. Plus, we've got the 2 schools in Los Angeles now favored to win the Big Ten Conference, a changing of the guard at Stanford, and so many more storylines to follow as the season gets underway in earnest. Clark was a generational talent and a draw unlike anything we've seen in any sport in a long time. The NCAA's all-time leading scorer led Iowa to 2 national championship game appearances, but, to me, the most memorable images from her college career will always be the lines of fans looped around arenas and parking lots waiting to get a chance to see her play, or the photos of little girls and boys grinning as Clark signed autographs for them. Caitlin was a first-name kind of household name. The stars of the college game this season are too, or if they're not, they will be soon. Juju Watkins at USC, last year's National Freshman of the Year and the ESPY winner for Best Breakthrough Athlete, is ready to take over the sport, bun and all. UConn guard Paige Buchers has been the face of this sport in the past and plans to be again, as long as her Huskies can stay healthy. And we can also expect Notre Dame sophomore Hannah Hidalgo to take another step toward greatness as one of the game's most exciting young players. Between Juju, Paige, and Hannah, the National Player of the Year race could be one of the most competitive in years. The Big East runs through UConn, Buchers. Analyst Kim Adams joins Zora Stephenson and Megan McKeown to examine the Big East, where they expect UConn and Paige Buchers to continue their dominance. Can South Carolina go back-to-back? Of course the Gamecocks can, and they return so much talent that it's understandably quite tempting to pick them to become the sport's first repeat national champion since UConn did it in 2016. I'd never count a Dawn Staley-coached team out, but especially not this year. South Carolina returns 4 starters with Malaysia Fulwiley, Tihina Pau, and the rest of the talented deep backcourt leading the way. The biggest question mark for South Carolina will be its inside presence. Center Camila Cardoso led the Gamecocks last season in points, rebounds, pau, and blocks. She was an obvious difference maker, as evidenced by the national title game against Iowa. Without her, how does Staley decide to attack and defend the paint, especially in early season matchups against UCLA and Iowa State? It's unclear at the moment, with forward Ashlyn Watkins suspended since an August arrest. Freshman Joyce Edwards may be the answer, but she'll have to learn on the fly. South Carolina may be more dangerous in SEC. Carolyn Peck joins Zora Stephenson and Megan McKeown to preview the SEC, where the South Carolina Gamecocks may be even more dangerous than the team that won a national championship last year. Will the new-look Big Ten run through? Asterisk checks notes asterisk. Los Angeles? There's a very good chance it does. USC was picked to finish first in the Big Ten Elite's preseason poll, followed by UCLA. Now, it shouldn't be surprising that former Pac-12 women's basketball teams are top contenders in their new leagues, especially with how deep the Pac-12 was a year ago in its final season. But both USC and UCLA are uniquely positioned to take over the Big Ten in their first year. Both teams are loaded with talent and experience, and neither is afraid to say it is chasing a national championship. The Trojans are led, of course, by Juju Watkins, and coach Lindsey Gottlieb went out and added two former familiar foes in Kiki Iriafen from Stanford and Talia von Oelhoffen from Oregon State, as well as the top-ranked freshman class led by Kennedy Smith to take this USC team to another level.